Well, hey there, it is. Welcome to How to Leverage AI to Craft Your Perfect Expert Positioning book. I am 𝗩𝗛𝗄𝗡. I am the publisher over here at Summit Press, and we're all about books that mean business. Check out our latest release, After Hello by Deb Fetter, which has gotten all sorts of international acclaim for this cover and is bringing in new business to the author. And here to run the show today is Walt Hampton. He is our acquisitions editor, our marketing wizard. And Walt, take it away.
Thank you so much, Ann. It's a thrill to be with you all today. And this is a program that we did about a month ago. We had so much interest and so much has happened in the intervening 30 days that we felt compelled to do it again, to update some of our thinking around it. And what I'm going to share with you today, friends, is completely disruptive. After the last webinar, someone said to me, you know, I'm going to see how this trend plays out. Well, this is not a trend. This is a complete inflection point. Like back in the 1400s, probably the last big inflection point, the Gutenberg press, the inflection point of content sharing, content marketing, content availability. Before that time, there was also a very careful curation of content. The clerics in the church had the access to the Bible and to scripture, and the people out in the world didn't have that. The people in academia had the content, but they didn't get it through a textbook at the bookstore. They had to go through professors in order to get that. And so it's not only a disruption, friends, in how content is created and disseminated in the world, but it's also this massive power shift. And however the technology ultimately gets iterated, this disruption is a moment in time that is like no other. And it opens up extraordinary possibilities for all of us. And I'm so excited to be able to share this with you today. We have our amazing director of operations in the chat. Her name is Melissa. Melissa, if you haven't already said hello, please say hello. And if there are questions, friends, please post them in the chat. Melissa will be responding. Our publisher, 𝗩𝗛𝗄𝗡, will stay in the chat as well. So if you have questions, please put them in, and we'll do our best to answer them. I'm not going to keep you longer than an hour. We should probably come in way short of an hour. And we're so grateful that you're here. I see a lot of folks who were here last month. Welcome back. I see some friends and colleagues and clients. We're so happy that you're here. Thank you for joining us. And I see a bunch of new people in our world. Welcome to our world. We're so happy to have you. If you're here, I imagine that you may be writing a book, an expert positioning, authority building book. That's great. Keep writing. You may be, like many of the folks who come to Summit Press at the very beginning, thinking about writing a book. You have an idea about the book. And we start with a lot of folks who are just ideating still around their books. And that's great. And then there are some of you, I know, because I've talked with some of you who are still thinking about writing a book. And what I want to suggest to you is that you already know that a book out in the world will make a big difference. It will get you seen in a noisy marketplace. You know, there are bazillions, speakers, consultants, business professionals, wealth managers, advisors, lawyers, accountants. The book will get you seen in a noisy marketplace. It sets you above your your competition. And with a book in the world, as an author, you're seen as an expert, that expert that you want to be seen as. And the other thing that becomes really cool is that for many in business, your book, to use a marketing tool, becomes your single biggest lead magnet. But just simply having that book out in the world, because of the authority that it gives to you, attracts people to you like a magnet. And event planners and podcast hosts, they really are attracted to the fact that you have a book in the world and that you can go out and talk about that book. So those of you who are thinking about writing a book, you know this to be true. So it's really time to get your book, regardless of where you are in the process, out into the world, because the book likely is a core message, a core teaching, your seminal work, if you will. It may be the framework for a great leadership program that you already teach, and potential clients want to see that before they book you for a workshop or a training, or an event coordinator wants to see your book to get an idea of how you're going to present your keynote material at their national association. Your message is important in the world. You have gifts and talents that are only yours to share in the way that you share them. And so the book needs to be out in the world. And there has never been a better time than now, especially now with what we're about to talk about today. But of course, if you're thinking about writing a book, there are lots of challenges. And even if you're in the midst of writing, you know this. There is the consideration of time. All of our authors who come to us have time challenges. If you're a busy business leader, business professional, entrepreneur, coach, consultant, speaker, time is at a premium. And the truth is that we teach and help our authors to create those time blocks so that you can get the book done. And you're going to see that AI is going to be an incredible time saver for you. Another challenge that a lot of our authors have when they come to us is, they might be in the leadership world, or they may be a mental health professional or a wealth manager, and they say, I want to write a book, but I'm not exactly sure what the topic of the book should be. That's not an unusual thing. And guess what? AI can help you with that. Titles for books. A lot of people fall in love with a working title. Many people come to us with a title, and we like to optimize those titles. We have a very deep bench at Summit Press in the digital marketing world, and so we want a title that will not only grab that potential reader walking down the airport concourse looking over at Hudson News. We not only want that title to grab that person, but we want it to be optimized out in the digital marketing space, out on Amazon. We want a really good title. AI can help us with that. Audience. We want to be able to write to the audience that will be our client avatar. And so getting that level of clarity is important. AI can help us with that. Problem and solution. Everything in business, everything in the marketplace, everything that experts help other people do is about problem and solution. Getting clear on the problem you're going to solve and the solution that you're going to provide, that's part of the book writing process and the marketing of that book. AI can help us with that. The organizational structure of the book, how it's going to be laid out, AI can help us with that. Stories. When AI first came out in November, this interactive AI that we're going to talk about today, the publisher, 𝗩𝗛𝗓𝗏, said, it's not going to be able to do stories. Well, guess what? It can. And there's still a gap there that we're going to talk about. And finally, understanding how a book is going to fall within a business model, that's super important. One of the things we go deep on with our authors, because the book is a component piece of your business model. Unless you're Michelle Obama, it is not going to be the business model, but it's going to be an important component piece of that business model. So, friends, this is a seismic shift. This inflection point in AI is this complete disruption in how content gets developed and shared in the world. And there is, at this moment in time, an extraordinary opportunity. And I want to invite you right now, well, not right now, maybe after we've had our time together, to get your book done and published. You could get your book done and published. I would say if you're in the process already, you could get it done and published in 90 days. If you were to come to us and you were in the I'm just thinking about it stage, you could get it done and published in the next 6 months, and you'll be seen as the go-to. You will stand above your competition. You will attract your ideal clients. You'll land amazing speaking and training opportunities. And all of that will allow you to leverage your income significantly, because the sweet spot that we have at Summit Press is we help our authors create the digital marketing assets, the courses and the programs and the workshops, and yes, even keynotes that actually deliver the huge return on your investment, like 6 figures. 2 of our authors last year enjoyed $250,000 paydays with their book launches. And this can be for you too, if you lean into what we're talking about today and move forward with your book. There's a lot of hand-wringing out in the world. I heard it even as recently as this morning as I was talking to some about this program today. Oh, AI is going to be the death of academia, the death of creative workers, the death of creative writing. It's going to, so much hand-wringing. We'll talk about some of that. We're going to talk about some of the gaps that exist in AI that you need to be careful about. But this is not going to go away. AI is not going to disappear like Periscope or Vine, for those of you who remember those little blips in the social media world. This is not going to disappear like MySpace disappeared. This technology is here to stay, and it's going to, like it has been doing for the last 30 days, 60 days, it's going to grow exponentially. So why all those other people are sitting in the corner wringing their hands about AI? Make this your moment to get your book out into the world. I want to start by framing AI in a way that I think is accessible. And I just, in the last 30 days, I began to think about this in terms of building a house. Writing a book has a lot of moving parts to it. Building a house has a lot of moving parts to it. You could build a house, arguably, using an old-fashioned hammer and a handsaw. You could do that, and you may build an amazing house. Or you could use power tools like a hydraulic hammer or saber saws or buzz saws. You can use power tools, and they will get you to your destination a whole lot faster. And so as we begin to work together today around these concepts, I want to invite you into thinking about AI as a power tool for getting your book out into the world, seizing this moment, as I really want to invite you to do. We have nothing for sale on this webinar. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you might be able to work with Summit Press if you would like to get your book out into the world this year in a big way. But I also have kind of a cool, those of you who are here last month, do not steal the reveal. because I know you know the reveal already, but do not steal the thunder here for me. This is kind of a cool reveal that I can't wait to share with you. But I get ahead of myself. I want to guide you as to how you might think about using AI as a power tool to create and market your expert positioning book. So let's talk a little bit about the book writing process. Let's say, for example, that you're a business professional, coach, consultant, lawyer, wealth manager. Maybe you're consulting in the leadership space. Let's pick leadership for a moment. And you're serving leaders. You're helping to develop leaders, or you want to help leaders become better at what they do, or you want to help them become more focused or productive, or some area around leadership. So you wake up some morning and you say, you know, I've been working in this leadership space for 5 years, 10 years. I'm a consultant or a coach, and I want to help people become better leaders. And I think I want to write a book, and I don't know what to write the book about. Well, the beautiful thing about AI and this inflection point in AI, it is now interactive and discursive. You can talk to it, friends. You can interact with it in real time. And so I began this conversation just now, but I did it before because I was preparing these slides. I want to come up with an idea for a book, but I have no idea where to start. So I typed in to ChatGPT, I want to write a book about leadership for people. I'm a financial services leader. I picked this example because one of our amazing authors, John Corteen, financial services professional from the Chicago arena, wrote a book helping financial services folks create better culture in the financial services world. But I picked financial services because I know his world. I want to write a book about leadership for people in the financial services world. What possible topics could I come up with? And here's what AI generated for me: 11 ideas, and very cool ideas. And across the spectrum of ideas, I could write a book. ChatGPT tells me about mindset around leadership. I could write a book about communications and interpersonal style. Super important. I was brought in a couple of years ago to help a law firm with a managing partner who was having communication issues. In fact, most of the people in his firm saw him as a jerk, but happily for the firm, he brought in a lot of money, and happily people can be trained on communications and emotional intelligence. Ethical leadership, super important. That would be a very cool idea to run with. Strategic thinking, how to become better in strategy. Diversity, equity, inclusion. What a cool idea right now. Emotional intelligence, the single biggest indicator of success in leadership, bar none. Change, change management, big issue. How to navigate through challenge and change, huge. Getting good engaged teams, recruiting and retention, engaging those teams, huge challenges. Succession planning. I had a conversation with a client this morning. Major issue for baby boomers. And leadership on a global scale, massively important. So cool ideas. Now, I'm not going to do it. I could type into ChatGPT, great, give me 10 more ideas. And it would. Give me 10 more. It would generate as many ideas about titles or topics for books as you could possibly imagine. Or you might say, give me possible topics for leadership for people in the financial services world pertaining to mortgage and the mortgage industry. You can go back and forth and interact with it. So I kind of liked, because this is a big, important topic in the world, number 6. I thought that would be a cool idea to write a book about. So let's just say you agree with me. It would be cool to go with the title number 6, diversity, equity, inclusion. I probably, if I were working with you, coaching you around the title that would land off the back of the Hudson News end cab there in the airport, probably too long a title, but a great topic to begin to work with. Okay, but where do I start? Where do I go from there? Let's just say I'm going to write this book, but that often stops people because what do I do next? I have no idea what the structure would be. I have no idea what I would begin to cover. So as I was thinking about this, thought, well, maybe I could ask ChatGPT. I said to it, I want to go with number 6. And you can do this. It will interact just like that. I want to go with number 6. Diversity, equity, inclusion. I gave the whole title it gave me. Can you give me some recommended chapters for this book? And guess what, friends? It gave me 10 amazing chapters for the book, a really nice arc. Would I go with this arc? Well, we're going to talk before we finish today. There are a lot of things that you, as the author, are going to want to be involved in. Are these the areas, the chapters, the outline that speak to your client avatar, to your marketplace? Are these things that light you up? Are these things that are related to what you teach and how you teach them? This is a beginning point, friends. It's a beginning point, but it's a really cool beginning point, isn't it? It's a place where you can at least begin to play off of. You may want to go with this structure, and we'll talk about why you may want to modify this structure before we finish today, because we're going to talk about the huge gaps that still exist in AI. But now you might say, I think that I'm going to go with this structure, but what do I do next? Oh, damn. Now I've got to face the blank page and start to write some ideas down. That's going to be hard. I'll do that next week, or I'll continue to thinking about this book. Let me put this away for now. Or you could go to ChatGPT and you could ask it. You could ask the question. Here I am live, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hope that live this works. I'm going to say, create an introduction for a book entitled Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. This, ladies and gentlemen, I have not done. This is happening in real time. This is happening before your eyes. It is writing the introduction to this book. Watch it, wait for it. The book is just unfolding as we watch. And it is working off the previous prompts that I shared with you around what it would include. And so this, again, is an amazing place of beginning for you. It happens in real time. It happens interactively. I could have gone back and said, create this with more of a voice in the financial services market, and it would have revised it. I could have gone back and said, change the perspective to speak more directly to a more diverse readership, or please focus this on women in leadership positions. I can interact with this tool, and I can come up with a framework that I can jump off from. So you can use AI, friends, to research and to brainstorm ideas. It will work back and forth with you. in real time. You can ask it to download ideas about particular areas of DEI, or you could ask it to give you information around the most recent research or the best practices in research. You can use it as an interactive brainstorming tool because it happens as a conversation in real time. ChatGPT is a chatting type of platform. What was happening before this inflection point in November was the tool was very static. There has been AI, for example, 𝗩𝗛𝗃𝗢𝗄, which, ladies and gentlemen, it actually uses the OpenAI platform. 𝗩𝗛𝗃𝗢𝗄, a perfectly good artificial intelligence platform, but artificial intelligence before this inflection point would go out and just cut and paste stuff and give it to you. This is an interactive, real-time conversation. So it helps you with the research. As you saw with the introduction, it happens in real time that you can actually begin to use it in the writing process. And the biggest thing that this tool helps you is to confront the dreaded thing called the blank page. It is where everybody sees the resistance, finds the fear, the overwhelm, the stress. I open up my computer to a Google document or a Word document, and there I am staring at the blank page. That is one of the single biggest impediments for writing and moving forward in your writing and getting the book done, the dreaded blank page. AI is a way to at least put stuff on the page, because as Jodi Picoult says beautifully, you can always edit a bad page. You can't do a thing with a blank page. And the beautiful thing is that this power tool allows you to fill that blank page. And as 𝗩𝗛𝗃𝗢𝗄𝗧 says over and over again, if you have the privilege of working with 𝗩𝗛𝗃𝗢𝗧 and developing your book, she'll just say, please give me a shitty first draft. I've heard her say it over and over again. This is the remedy, friends, for coming up with that shitty first draft, so you're not hearing 𝗩𝗛𝗃𝗢𝗧 pray for you that it's going to come the next time that you work together with her. So it's a wonderful tool to fill the blank page. So what can we use AI to do? We can use it to research. We can use it to organize our content and to reorganize our content. We can use it to suggest possible additional content, and we can use it, as I've shown you in real time, that it will actually create content. It'll help you with your grammar. AI has long existed. You know, Grammarly has been a common tool. There's all sorts of inflection points now that are happening in AI that will help you deepen the acuity around grammar and style and proofreading. So AI is wonderful for all of these projects as a power tool. As 𝗩𝗛𝗃𝗢𝗄𝗧 told you at the beginning, my role in the whole Summit Press world is the marketing and the promotion and the business around the book, the launch sequences, the launch event, promoting a book, marketing a book, course creating with a book. I could go right in now and Melissa, please don't hate me. I'm actually going to do something that we didn't rehearse. So if this all goes horribly wrong, you can blame me, but I'm going to go back over to ChatGPT and I'm going to give it another prompt in real time. Create a course outline for related to this book. I don't know. Don't try this at home, ladies and gentlemen. But here it is. I love this. I could get lost down a black hole for this. So it will create a course description for you, and then it could create a course outline, the objectives. You see it happening in real time. And again, it's a wonderful place to have a point of jumping off. And why I actually took the chance of going in here to do this is a course related to your book has the potential to create exponential income opportunities related to your book. Again, royalties, we pay some of the highest royalties in the industry at Summit Press Publishers. Royalties are great, but as a per unit a measure of income, it's not going to sustain you. Whereas if you're making $250,000 or $500,000, or as some of our clients are making multiple six figures over a course, this type of tool can give you that starting point for creating that course. Mel, I'm going to get out of this. So again, thank you so much for playing along with me here. Oh, look at, I'm back there. Thank you, Melissa. So you can use it for course creation. I could show you, I'm not going to torment Melissa again by showing you how I might create a keynote outline workshops. It will give you videos to promote your book, to promote your course. It will give you video transcripts, but even before it will give you transcripts, you could create a script for a 10-minute video or a 5-minute video promoting my book. So AI can be used as a power tool in connection with all of these things as well. So why? Why bother? It will increase your efficiency. It will improve your accuracy, and it will reduce the time and effort required to write and edit the book. And rather than thinking about this as a years-long hope and dream to get a book out into the world, you can get your book out in the next 90 to 180 days. Like using power tools, ladies and gentlemen. And as I suggested before, it really helps with the blank page problem. Stephen Pressfield, who wrote a wonderful book about the creative arts called The War of Art, he calls resistance, that thing that we all grapple with, the lizard of resistance. AI as a power tool helps you overcome that dreaded lizard of resistance. Now, I have more. I'm going to tell you where the big gaps are in AI, the things that you have to worry about. There are certain things you must worry about and be concerned about. There are things that are gaps that only you can fill right now that AI won't fill. And there's a really big gap that we're going to spend a little bit of time on. But first of all, the big reveal is that everything we're doing today, I worked with AI to create. The landing page that you went to, including all of these bullet points. And this, those of you in the digital marketing world, you'll know what this means. This page that I sent out to you converted at 70%, which means that 70% of the people who visited this page signed up for this webinar. So this created a landing page, a webinar landing page that is a really high converting landing page. Now, there is AI, and OpenAI has the technology right now to do image creation. The image background, Melissa on our team, our brilliant director of operations, is a magnificent designer. The design components are hers, but the content was all AI. Everything that you got in the mail, the email from me inviting you to come to this webinar was generated through AI. The entire outline that I'm sharing with you today was created with AI. Not solely, we're going to talk about those gaps, but my point is that with these power tools, we can get there faster. 2.5 weeks ago, on a Wednesday night, I was messaged by a dear friend and colleague asking me to do an hour-long presentation on AI out in Phoenix, Arizona. And I was like, oh, well, thanks for all of the advance notice. And Ann said to me, how about we go to AI? That was a good idea. So let's talk about the issues and the gaps and the challenges. There's all sorts, as I said at the beginning, all sorts of hand-wringing that's going on. Oh, AI is cheating. We're hearing a lot of this from academia. The academics who are wringing their hands about AI will join the academics from the 70s over at that picnic table over there in the shadows who are still talking about the problem with calculators in the classroom. They'll have a nice little group over there in that corner. AI is a new tool. It is here to stay. One of the beautiful things that it will do is it will require us to think more deeply and to ask better questions. If you saw just how I was doing that in real time, I actually had to give AI an instruction or ask it a question, and I can continue to ask questions around it. And the better the question or the more focused the question, the better the answer. So it's going to open up academically a whole new arena where we're going to have to get much clearer about what we're focusing on. Sourcing right now is an interesting issue. ChatGPT right now, and it's changing even as we speak, is sourcing, it says, predominantly from 2021 and earlier, which is to say that data or information or changes like in the leadership arena that are happening from 2022 to 2023 may not be sourced by ChatGPT or other AI programs. So sourcing may be an issue. It may be an issue for a while, but it's a gap, an issue to be aware of. Originality. This is not like your grandmother's. Well, no, your grandmother didn't have AI. This is not like yesterday's AI or last year's AI, where it really was cutting and pasting from the interweb. This interactive chat is actually composing in real time. It is not cutting and pasting and giving you stuff that you need to worry about has been plagiarized. It is original. And actually, when you go into OpenAI, you can actually in real time ask it to regenerate. That's what I could have taken that introduction and said, regenerate, and it would have given me a completely new and different introduction. Fake news. Interesting because AI doesn't have discretion about what is in the world of the internet. And so if you wanted to create an article, the draft of an article around elections or hacks in elections or the January 6th incident at the Capitol, you would need to have a pretty good historical and academic understanding of what's real, what was generated on the interweb as hashtag fake news. So it doesn't have a lot of discretion as to what's real and not real, factual versus not factual. A lot of need for understanding and being smart in the use of this tool. Interesting question. I didn't see whether one of my colleagues who I talked with this week is on live today or not, but my dear friend and colleague Martin raised the question, do we need to attribute, give attribution to ChatGPT if we were to use it in the connection of a book? I thought that was a very interesting question. I actually don't have the answer, but my immediate response was no. You wouldn't necessarily say to the homeowner, you know, it wasn't me that built this beautiful home. It was my buzzsaw that built the home. So my 2 cents on that is there is no need to attribute or cite the fact that you used ChatGPT in the creation of your work. Where are the gaps? Well, one of the gaps is, as I've already alluded to, is that it is prone to error. It will pick up stuff from the interweb without regard to whether it is real or not. Last time we gathered 30 days ago when I did this program, I said that what it delivers up is grammatically error-free and spelling error-free. I can't say that today. As I've looked at it unfolding, it does have syntax errors, some grammar errors, unless you're using an AI that's particular to grammar, like Grammarly and Grammarly Pro. The other gap is that when you are thinking about writing a book, or thinking about writing a book, when you're in the process of getting your book out into the world, the whole book actually needs to fit within your business model. You know, is it a one-to-one bricks and mortar model? Is it a keynote speaking based model? Is it an online coaching model? Is it what we call a hub and spokes business model, or some type of ascendancy business model? We work with our authors to get really clear about where the book fits within business modeling, but AI will not help you personally say, yes, this is the business model that I want, and this is how my book will work within that business model. AI is a wonderful power tool in marketing, but the marketing itself still needs to be done. Now, yes, there are some great AI tools, you know, even tools that many of you probably use already for the scheduling of your social media. So there are AI tools that do that. But again, figuring out how your book relates to your marketing, where it fits into the marketing arc, where those of you who are in the digital marketing world, where it fits in your funnel. I like to think about that, the client and customer journey. Where does that book fit within the greater arc of that client and customer journey? AI still is rather clunky with respect to that. And so you yourself are responsible and will continue to be responsible for that. And it's one of the things that we're passionate about getting right with our authors. AI is a power tool. You don't have a lot of rapport and connection with your saber saw. You may love cabinetry. You may love creating beautiful furniture. You might love woodworking projects, but you're not going to have a great rapport and connection. AI is wonderful, as you saw in creating that shitty first draft. But you, friends, you who are in leadership, you who are in as a business professional, you're actually every day in the environment where you're hearing what your clients' worries are, what their challenges are. And the brilliance of marketing we share with our authors is when you can enter into the conversation that is already happening in your prospective clients' heads, when you can speak to them as if you are like mind reading with your book, with the marketing around the book, people want that. They'll consume it. They'll share it. And AI can't do that. And I dare say that AI won't ever be able to do that. This third bullet, nothing original right now. This is actually a big deal. If I created, let's just say I was like, I wanted to get a book out today. and I wanted to generate 60,000 words around diversity, equity, inclusion. I actually probably could do that. I haven't tried it yet, but I could probably do that. The problem, ladies and gentlemen, is if you are going to be seen as an expert in your world, you actually need to contribute your ideas to the conversation. AI can't do that. In my talk 2 weeks ago, I talked about the future of AI, you know, whether AI begins to gain consciousness or not, whether it begins to have its own creativity. That's the topic of a whole other conversation. Right now, AI does not contribute anything original. And if you want to be seen as an expert in the world, our work together would be around teasing out your original contributions so that you shine in the world in a big way. Because ultimately, you and your contribution here is what elevates you, that establishes the trust and credibility that gets you seen in a crowded marketplace. It's not just another book about such and such, about leadership. It's actually your book, your take, your unique contribution, your unique perspective, the expression of your gifts in the world. And a tool, a power tool in the hands of an unskilled craftsman may get that unskilled craftsperson hurt, or you might have a house sill that would fall apart. The power tool isn't going to create the beautiful house. The tool of AI isn't going to create the beautiful book that is the expression of you in the world, the beautiful book that has your personal stories. They may be able to create stories. I told 𝗩𝗛𝗓𝗏𝗧𝗏 that it could create stories, but they're two-dimensional stories. They're not deep stories. They don't have the dimension and the emotion that you yourself as a writer will bring. And story sells. If you work with 𝗩𝗛𝗓𝗏𝗧𝗏, if you join us in Summit Press, you'll hear us talk over and over again about the importance of personal story, even in a business book, especially in a business book. So my question for you is, what's next for you? I am hoping, although my clients who are on this will say, well, Walt, you always say hope is not a strategy. I'm hoping, I'm inviting you to step in and to get your book done in the next 90 days, in the next 6 months. At Summit Press, we do all sorts of cool things with our authors. We take people from the beginning of the process where they're still thinking about it, all the way through either book coaching or book doctoring, or sometimes on a very selective basis, ghostwriting. We help them take the book all the way through that very arduous and multifaceted publication process of getting the book content edited and line edited and proofread and creating an amazing cover design. Like after Hello, that book went out into the world, and within, I think it was about 48 hours, it had been recognized internationally for its design, its cutting edge in design. We create bestseller campaigns. We had a #1 international bestseller last year. We work with agents in the world with getting books published at places like Hay House and Simon & Schuster. And as I suggested, we help our authors create courses and the marketing and the keynotes that actually make them huge, huge returns on their investment. Some of the examples of the people that we work with: Catherine Rolt, amazing human being from the UK, launched this book early last year, The Pain Paradox. When it was released within 24 hours, I think it was 22 hours, it was #1 internationally in 87 separate categories. It raised the profile of this alternative medicine healer, Chinese medical expert, from relative obscurity to global recognition within a day. ladies and gentlemen. That's the example of the power of a book in the world. Another book that Anne had a big hand in, beautiful human being, talented therapist from the Northwest corner of the United States, Dr. Serena Sterling. This was a book that last year sold thousands and thousands of units and hit number 2 on the Wall Street Journal bestseller status. You know, there are a lot of lists that you can hack. You can't hack the Wall Street Journal bestseller list. An amazing accomplishment. And again, raising the profile around really, really important work in the world. Anne 𝗩𝗡𝗏𝗧 told you a little bit about After a Hello. Deb is, don't judge Deb any more than you would me, is a lawyer. I was a lawyer, practicing lawyer for 30 years. Deb is still a lawyer. She helps lawyers grow and scale their connections and create great relationships and connections to build their businesses. She's very, very talented. Check her out on LinkedIn, doing amazing work in the world. Roland Cochrane, young fellow from Sedona, and Roland created a 5-day challenge launch around his book idea, helping loan officers, ladies and gentlemen. He ran a 5-day program selling into his training, his workshop, which is a year long. And in 5 days, he brought in $250,000. He had $9,000 in overhead. He walked away with $241,000. That's the power of leveraging the back end of a book. Anne 𝗩𝗡𝗏𝗧 worked with Una in getting the proposal done on Fit Feels Good, an extraordinary human being, Una Duncan, and a little bit edgy in her title, but it has had huge reach, and people love Una and the work that she does. Anne worked with Mary Barbera in Mary's book proposal. Dr. Mary Barbera is one of the world-renowned experts in autism. She has impacted and changed the lives of millions and millions and millions of people. That's the power of having a book in the world. And so the question I have is, will you stop thinking about your book or stop just staying in the process of your book and actually get it published in the world? Will you accept my invitation to get your message out into the world in a big way so that you can impact the lives that you want to impact, that you can influence others in the way that you want to influence, that you can be seen for the expert that you are? Will you be our next best-selling author? And we would love to invite you to apply to work with us. If you go, I'm going to beat you to this, Mel, because you would probably be messaging me in a moment. I have popped in a application over on the right-hand side. If you're listening to the replay, it's probably still on the right-hand side. A button, a green button that says "Go here." If you're listening to one of the replays, the button may be blue, but it's green right now, ladies and gentlemen. Go over on the right-hand side, press the green button, and it will take you to a short form, not very long. It'll ask you for some basic names and time zones and stuff like that. And you will end up talking to me about whether or not you might be a fit to work with us and how we might do that. But if you are here, you're here because you have something to share with the world. And I so want to see you get your message out into the world. So I want to encourage you to go over there, hit that green button, apply for some time that we can talk about together about what you've got going on, whether it's an idea that will hit the market running, how we can possibly support you. So I want to invite and encourage you to do that. And I want to thank you, friends, for joining me here today. This second iteration, we had a greater or even greater registration than the first iteration of this program here today. We're really excited. There are a lot of people in the publishing industry that are wringing their hands, like the academics, about AI. We see it as an extraordinary opportunity to move important work like yours out into the world in a big, big way. Thank you for allowing me to have this time with you. It has been a wonderful gift and privilege to do that. Hopefully, I haven't been in chat. I am hoping, hope is not a strategy, that our team has taken good care of you. If you have other questions, please email us. And please, please, please go over there on the right-hand side, click that button, go to that form, fill out the brief information, and I would look forward to the privilege of spending some time with you. Thank you so very, very much. Have a great rest of the day, great rest of the week. Bye for now.